Alright, on this episode of DockSide TV, before we get started, we're going to show you how to change your quality on your computer or your phone. You want to make sure for this episode, which is spectacular, make sure to change your quality setting on how you're going to view the episode. When you're about to watch the video, whether it's through DockSide or YouTube or however you're going to view it, simply click play and you are going to go to the quality setting in the bottom right hand corner, hit the settings button, then hit quality, and then bump it up to the highest resolution you can find, whether it's 720 or 1080. Make sure you watch it in HD, and that is going to allow you to really see the best quality of this unbelievable day we had of sight fishing redfish. We had redfish coming from every angle, charging the Matrix Shads left and right, and the better the setting on the computer, the better it is the viewer is going to be able to watch the actual redfish eat the lure. So for the people that have never been able to witness this before and do it on their own out on the field, at least you can watch it how it goes down on the computer by having it set on HD, whether it's 720 or 1080. So change your computer settings and you're going to be able to really see the high resolution and detail watching these redfish charge the bait. And it shows you just the most exciting way to fish these redfish across the Gulf Coast is to be able to get up and watch the actual fish charge the Matrix Shad. This is the way to do it if you're really looking for the sportiest way and most enjoyable and exciting way. This is the rush right here. So stay tuned for this episode of the Gold Rush from DockSide TV. Alright, today was just one of those days, one of them epic situations, bluebird skies, slick calm conditions, clean water, just absolute awesome conditions. All of the stars aligned for us to catch these redfish. And this clip right here that you're looking at, we had a waking or tailing redfish floating real high, riding so high in the water column he was breaking the surface. And we click the camera on. A lot of times when we see that, we'll go ahead and throw it immediately and stick the fish, but we let it get close enough. He sunk down a little bit, pitched on him right by the boat, so you tried to get a clip of it on the camera. Fish gobbled up the Matrix Shad, nothing to it, fought him for a little while. Pretty standard fight. And most of these fish have been 5 to 7 pounds. There's so many of them out there, we're not even bothering with the net. We're just flipping them right in the boat. And lure of choice throughout this was the pink champagne. We got them in the 8-packs, matrixshad.com, and all of our local retailers, obviously. And we had it on the 1/4 ounce Golden Eye. That was the deadly combo for this epic day of fishing. What made this day so wonderful was the fact that we just started seeing big, large schools of redfish, and that's really the most exciting thing to see. What we had been seeing all summer, which has been pretty tough, is just a redfish here, redfish there. You might see a school of 2 or 3 together, but today was the breakout day where they started roaming in 10 and 20s. We even saw a school had to be 30, 40, 50 fish. It was hard to see. It was a little bit deeper, so I could only see the ones that were floating high. In this clip you're about to see right here, Warren throws on a red in one portion of the school, hooks the red, fights it for a second. Redfish gets off, which generally gets you a little upset, but no big deal when it's like this. You just simply throw right back into the school, work the Matrix Shad a few times, boom. It was 4 or 5 reds charging this thing.
Go for us, baby.
Warren hooked another one, fought it for a good 5 minutes, and the crazy thing is the school stayed with the fish that he had hooked the entire time.
Catching these big gold pumpkins here. Just ran into a school of about 20 of them. Dropped right on side the boat in the middle of the school. Managed to hook one of them big pumpkins. As I'm reeling them in, they still got 4 to 5 pumpkins following this one up to the boat. Oh, 30-pound braid. I just caught this beautiful gold pumpkin right off the side of the boat. Had a school of about 20 to 25 of them. I just dropped down right in the middle of them, and I fought them for about 5 minutes, and as I was reeling in, they had about 2 or 3 chasing them, trying to nip at his tail. I think I'm gonna release this one.
After a little bit of time fighting a fish, 10 or 20 seconds, if you're throwing in the midst of a school, eventually the fish gets spooked and spooks off. But these fish were just very active, very aggressive, and they were staying with each other the whole time. Pretty awesome out there. All right, what we've been doing is fishing the actual lake-borne shorelines when the tide's low, which we've been having a lot lately in this summer with the constant west and southwest winds. When the tide does come in, or if it's rising all day and we know we can penetrate and get up into the marsh, we've been going inside the marsh, getting more internal. Generally, you want to get as shallow as you can, so redfish seem like they want to be somewhere between 10 inches and 20 inches is like a basic common stomping grounds for them. So we try to get in there in the interior duck ponds where all the grass is when the tide's a little high, but if the water's dead low, we've been focusing on that lake-borne shoreline. Some of the shorelines have a lot of rocks and riffraff on them from the Corps or whoever's involved with it protecting the actual marsh, and the redfish seem to really like that. And some of the mistakes that are commonly made sight fishing is a lot of time you got to lead the fish. So if the redfish is swimming from right to left and you throw it in front of him, you want to throw it far enough in front of him to where you can lead the lure to the direction he's swimming. If you cast behind him or equal with him, you're gonna botch the cast because the fish is gonna pass up the lure while you're trying to reel it in, because the lure is gonna go behind him, and the worst thing that can happen is your actual line touch the fish. You don't want that to happen. A mistake that I made on this day, I went to pitch, as you see in this clip here. There was a school of redfish floating on these rocks I just told you about, and it was a nice school of 6 and 7 pounders. And what I did is I tried to pitch it on them, lead them out in front, and I tried to keep the lure real high and speed burn it, trying to elevate the red and get a real big reaction strike out of it, which I wouldn't usually do if the camera was involved. I would pitch it on them, get their attention to just kill it. You want to just drop the bait. But since we were trying to get some footage for the camera, we reeled it in too fast. You could see the redfish charged it, and then he gave up on it, probably saw the boat. So what you want to do, lead the fish, throw it in front of their nose. When you get the reaction, when you get the fish's attention, all you got to do is kill that bait. The Matrix Shad swims naturally down just with the gravity of the jig head, and the redfish can't stand it. All right, where we launched today was South Shore Bait and Marina. It's right next to the Yellow Store on Chef Mentor Highway, right next to the Chef Pass Bridge. We launch here a lot of times when we're chasing reds off the Intercoastal, Proctor's Point, even if we're going to run across to the Biloxi Marsh. It's a great central location for not only just red fishing and sight fishing, but if you want to go to the outside, fish some of the rigs in Lake Bourne, or even run on the eastern side of the Biloxi Marsh and chase speckled trout in the summer. It's about as close and central located place you're going to get off the Pontchartrain Basin. We like to fish redfish in the summer. It's a good time of year to do it. We can generally stay close to South Shore Bait and Marina. And it's very entertaining. Even the days we don't limit out on reds and we just see a handful, we're constantly seeing the sheephead floating around in the marsh, swimming around. We're going to see beautiful shots of stingrays floating high, getting in the grass. It's really a neat thing to see. Garfish from 2 pounds up to 50 pounds. We see them in the marsh just floating around. And those are the 3 things you want to see in order to see redfish also. You're very rarely going to see one without the other. My favorite thing to see is the stingrays. If I'm seeing a lot of stingrays, redfish are somewhere nearby. Another good tip is to use the crab traps to your advantage to navigate. These ponds can be very, very shallow. They take years to learn which one you can float, which one you can't float, which ones you can't float. So what I do is, if I see a crab trap float, and I don't see the actual crab trap sticking out the water, I know I can float that, run across that pond on plane. I have no danger of getting stuck. If I do see a crab trap float and the trap's sticking halfway out the water, I know to come in easily on my trolling motor, be careful. There is a possibility of being stuck, hence half the crab trap's out the water, meaning it's probably 7-8 inches deep, and that's your borderline of getting yourself in trouble. So use the crab traps to your advantage. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to this episode of DockSide TV. In the clip you're about to see, you'll see the redfish in its comfortable environment where I hooked him and he ran completely around the boat past other redfish that were unaware that he was hooked. Today, whenever we were fishing, our lure of choice was the pink champagne matrix shad, which provides us with a very clear visibility in the water, so we could see the lure very well whenever it disappears and the redfish grabs it. Thanks for watching this episode of DockSide TV. We had a blast filming it as redfish were exploding everywhere in this gold rush. For all our other episodes, go to www.docksidela.com. And until next time, good fishing.
Leave your worries at the door and come enjoy the water. Esito time, peace of mind. If you both won't go, don't you worry, cause you know Esito time, peace of mind. To the rescue, Esito time. To the rescue, Esito time. Esito.com.